Things like fentanyl, cocaine, alcohol, nicotine are what come to mind when we think of addiction. We tend less to think of our behaviors in terms of addiction, especially something like using our phones, which everyone is doing around us all the time. But the reality is that smartphones have enormous addictive qualities. So much so that smartphone addiction is becoming a genuine concern worldwide. Call centers for smartphone addiction are readily available online. Even rehab programs for smartphone users are popping up. Experts have even created a new term for this addiction, nomophobia, the fear of being without a mobile device. Welcome to Vital Signs. A healthy body, mind, and soul are vital ingredients to a happy life. So let's get healthy. I'm Brendan Fallon. Nomophobia isn't such a problem for me. I actually don't like this thing very much. I see technology as a necessary evil, but that wasn't always the case. And I'll share a little bit about that later on. And I look forward to hearing about your nomophobic experiences in the comments. As it would happen, smartphone overuse closely resembles other behavioral addictions, like gambling. Smartphone addiction can include difficulty limiting behavior, feeling anxious or feeling withdrawal when away from the behavior. Another important one is doing risky things in the name of the addiction. This might be taking your eyes off the road just to check a text message. Quitting a smartphone or media addiction can be even harder than giving up smoking, according to certain research. It's not by accident, though, that this technology can have such a powerful pull on us. It's actually very much by design. Have you ever sat down to check your phone and then realized 30 minutes had flashed by? The reason is smartphones and apps are not designed to simply give users what they want. They are designed to keep them coming back for more. Curiously, a Forbes magazine article compares the brain on smartphone to the brain on cocaine. You've got to admit, it's a bit of a buzz each time one of those notifications pings and pops up. You have 12 new followers. Your post has 14 likes. It's not by coincidence that we have this kind of reaction. The bells and whistles on these devices are all very carefully contrived, and there's a brain chemistry basis to it. This buzz we get is caused by dopamine in the brain. Dopamine is a feel-good chemical. It's released in the brain when we do something we enjoy. Some phone apps hijack this brain function. They send likes and other notifications in prolonged or random patterns. This is designed to keep us coming back for another hit of dopamine. What's more, social media algorithms are designed to pull users in with endless scrolling. Likes and messages give us social affirmation. Targeted content capitalizes on the release of dopamine. It hooks users to keep swiping for one more video. The buzz we get from checking how many likes our post has, or when we see a video we like, programs us to do it again later. Over time, our brain starts releasing dopamine just in anticipation of our checking our phones, compelling us to keep checking that app. Perhaps this is why Facebook's former vice president for user growth admits he rarely uses Facebook himself. He also says he doesn't allow his own children to use it either. The founding president of Facebook said, "Social media changes people's relationship with society and with one another." Then there's Apple's chief exec, Tim Cook, saying he doesn't want his nephew on any social network. If big tech executives won't allow their young to use social media, why do we allow our young to? 95% of teenagers in the US have access to a smartphone, Pew Research tells us. Another study shows cell phone use peaking during teen years. Most teenagers surveyed said they experienced loneliness, depression, or anxiety when separated from their phones. Shouldn't we be worried about that? Smartphone addiction can devastate mental health, particularly for young people. In one study, a 1-hour increase in social media use correlated with increased depressive symptoms, like depression, anxiety, sleeplessness, and impulsive behavior. And this isn't surprising when you consider the effects of smartphone overuse on the brain. And this is where it gets more than a little horrific. One study performed brain scans on a sample of phone addicts. It showed a part of the brain linked to emotional control had shrunk in size. Researchers said the shape and size of their brains resembled those of drug users. Addictive smartphone use can also impair a key neurotransmitter that helps control anxiety. An imbalance in this chemical is linked to certain mental health disorders. So what's the answer? Our society is heavily reliant on smartphones. How can we protect ourselves and our families from the negative effects? Well, here are a few places to start. Social media apps are designed to keep us scrolling, so it's good to set boundaries on cell phone use. Check your phone only at designated times of the day. Have a time limit to stop yourself chasing that dopamine high. Don't scroll your phone at night, especially before bed. This can harm your mental health. Neuroscientist Dr. Andrew Huberman studied the effects of screen time between 11 p.m. and 4 a.m. He said that such screen use can lead to depression. And there's a brain circuitry reason for this. Screen light at this time lowers dopamine production. This makes us feel disappointed. Blue light glasses may help reduce this effect, but overall, it's the brightness of light and not its color that makes the difference. Substitution is also a powerful antidote to addiction, and I can say this based on my own experience. I recall being 26 and being hooked on the police shoot 'em up SWAT 3. You got to pretend you were a part of a SWAT team, kinda cool. I remember looking at my watch and seeing it was 7 a.m. I'd been playing all night long. I'd actually gone to bed at 3 a.m., but the pull to go back was too strong. I realized at that point I had a problem, and this is where substitution comes in. Luckily, I had more engaging things like sports, acting, I was doing amateur theater at the time, university, to switch my focus toward. So that fateful morning, some 15 years back, was the last time I seriously played a video game. In terms of substituting addiction for something more meaningful, genuine face-to-face engagement is hard to beat. And it's something we tend to run short of in our rat race society. We're often connecting with people via our cell phones. Teenagers cite connecting with others as the second highest reason they use their phones. And this is mainly via social media. This is a poor substitute for a real in-person exchange, the type of exchange that the family home should be most suited to. The data shows a different picture though. American adults spend 3 hours a day on social media, but only 37 minutes of quality time with their families on the average weekday, one study shows. We can't take for granted the value of family relationships, particularly for teens. These can be a most powerful diversion from addictive behavior. Parents hold more influence over their teens than peers do, research tells us, surprisingly. Family outings, game nights, and family suppers are all potential diversions from techno overuse for young people. Another idea, which may be easier said than done, is not to give your teens cell phones in the first place. Teens tend to overuse their phones more than any other age groups, and the earlier they start using their phones, the higher the risk of overuse and addiction, the research shows. Cell phones can be highly addictive. Apps, especially social media ones, are designed to hijack certain brain functions and keep us coming back for more. Our teens tend to be most vulnerable to cell phone addiction and the mental health side effects that come with it. Setting boundaries around phone use is crucial. Putting the emphasis back on human-to-human interaction is a powerful antidote to addiction. You can follow me on Instagram at see.vitalsigns to get notice of new videos. See you next time. I'm Brendan Fallon, and this is Vital Signs.